Hello everyone. Wherever you are, I'd like to welcome you to this virtual Cambridge Open Day presentation. I'm Katharine Ellis, I'm 1684 Professor of Music at the faculty. And with my colleagues, Dr Sam Barrett and Dr Delphine Mordey, I'll be introducing you to the course here at Cambridge, the musical life of the faculty and the colleges, and the admissions process. Many music students come to university music study through performance, because they want to understand more of what makes the music tick, what made the music exist in the first place, and why music matters right now. If that describes you, then you'll be in the right place. The Cambridge course is taught by staff who have two things in common. We're experts and we're enthusiasts. We want to communicate our understanding to students and to arouse your curiosity for things you might never have thought existed. There are skills and techniques which we think you should all learn, but at the same time, we're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to teach you how to think. So if you want to learn about diverse musics and diverse approaches to music, Cambridge will be for you. Many people will tell you that music must be vocational. My answer is that it can be, but it needn't be. There are more transferable skills in a music degree than in many other university courses you might choose. Few degrees demand such discipline, courage, quick thinking, teamwork, and grace under pressure. You will use your music degree whatever you choose to do next. Cambridge offers you 3 years of opportunity and challenge. Our teaching structure of faculty lectures and classes and college small group teaching is unique in the UK. Clearly, I'm speaking to you at an unusual time. But COVID has taught us quickly how we can blend online and face-to-face teaching so that students have lecture resources as a reference point, leaving more face-to-face contact time for discussion and for other forms of active learning. My colleagues will talk more about the university and city and the performing opportunities they bring. But our faculty at West Road is a musical hub all of its own, with a superb concert hall, recital and rehearsal spaces. Of course, what you really want to know is what to expect of the course. We appreciate that students arrive with very different musical experiences and skill sets. That's why our first year is mostly compulsory and foundational, starting off major pathways and laying the groundwork for future study. But as you move into years 2 and 3, more pathways will open up, and you'll also be able to specialize more and more, so that by the end, you'll have constructed a final year that is in effect your degree, the courses that are most relevant and useful to you personally. You'll be able to include your own research and project work in all 3 years. And depending on the courses you choose, you'll receive one-to-one tuition as part of all 3 years as well. In the first year for core courses, you can expect to have around 2 supervisions per week. For those, you'll need to present work. And you'll also have 4 lectures a week. Then you'll have more classes or supervisions for your optional courses. In years 2 and 3, these contact hours may lessen, depending upon your own choices, but you'll be just as busy. We've always used a variety of assessment methods, and COVID is causing us to rethink what is best for each and every course. But you can be sure that the variety will stay. We examine in each year as well, so in total you'll be assessed on 19 different courses during your undergraduate degree. So let me take you through the 3 years of the Cambridge programme. And here I can tell you that from 2021, we'll be launching a revised programme that broadens the focus of the traditional Cambridge music course and creates a new pathway in popular music and a new skills-based approach to music history. In year 1, you'll do 5 core papers, actually 4.5. The first 2 on the screen will develop your critical and historical skills, your writing, and your research skills. Music in Contemporary Societies deals with the repertories and debates of today, relating to popular, traditional, and classical musics together. Analysis covers the how do we make sense of music question, again in relation to a wide variety of repertories. Our harmony, counterpoint, and general musicianship courses enable you to think from inside the music and to think on your feet as a practical musician. These courses dovetail with your Western music history course, which takes selected topics such as the history of a genre or the legacy of empire and allows you to study them in depth. After the core courses in the first year, you choose 2 half-paper options. Our new degree means you can now do both composition and performance in the first year. If you want to develop an idea and research it yourself, then the extended essay will be perfect for you. And if you're a budding historian wanting to know how to approach musical sources or to evaluate how music has been understood through time and through geographical space, then you'll want to take the history workshop. In year 2, we reduce the core elements to 3: history, applied tonal skills, which is harmony and counterpoint for practical use, and analysis. Year 2 is also where we introduce other specialist approaches to music study: performance studies, music and science, ethnomusicology, and popular music and media. We also offer a wide range of practical, technical, and historical courses that allow you to try your hand at transcribing early notation, learning how to play a figured bass at speed, or developing the language skills that enable deeper understanding in a course devoted to a single large-scale work. We realize that even this level of choice is insufficient for students wanting to follow some of our pathways, so we allow students to apply to replace one of the core courses with an optional one. This gives our second year considerable flexibility. But that's nothing as to the complete freedom of year 3. We run around 17 courses per year, of which you do 6. These build on the technical, historical, creative, practical, and critical pathways we've opened up in years 1 and 2. And you can either follow the pathways logically through the years, or you can mix and match, having discussed the best options with your college director of studies. This is the beauty of the Cambridge system. The range is very wide: composition, medieval music, popular music, film scoring, analysis, psychology. The list goes on and on. Cambridge then will keep you engaged, stimulated, and possibly busier than you ever thought was possible. Perhaps all this seems daunting, but let me put it this way. Cambridge will consolidate your strengths and then stretch you so that you achieve more than you imagined. It's a very personal system where the individual student really counts. There's a lot of support. Many Cambridge students are among the first in their family to go to university. As a student, I was in that position, and I also came through the comprehensive system. But whatever kind of school you attend, and whatever your background, don't hesitate. If the course appeals to you, you've nothing to lose in applying. Go for it. We'll look forward to reading your application. And from me, thanks for listening. And I'm now going to hand over to Dr. Sam Barrett and Dr. Delphine Mordey to talk to you about performance opportunities and the application process itself. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Sam Barrett, lecturer here at the Faculty of Music in Cambridge. And I'm going to speak to you today about performance and the wider environment, covering performance, especially within the undergraduate music degree, composition, facilities, including our libraries and studio, and careers. But first, a few words about the extraordinary situation today in which we find ourselves. All of our activities have been affected by COVID-19 in the last few months, but the solutions that we have found here to keep our undergraduate programs running have opened up new possibilities for integrating technology into all that we do. It has expanded our notion of the core skills that students need to pursue their interests in a rapidly changing world. And it is with this in mind that what I'm talking about today is a changing picture, but it's one that we're creatively responding to alongside the range of professional musicians who work at the Faculty of Music in Cambridge. As you've already heard from Professor Ellis, there are performance options in all 3 years of the undergraduate degree. Performance is taught through a combination of faculty classes run by the Director of Performance, Professor Margaret Faultless, a practicing performance series featuring visiting artists running workshops and masterclasses, more on this later, and individual lessons with external tutors, many of whom regularly visit Cambridge to give lessons. Professor Faultless advises each student taking performance about their options within the undergraduate degree, providing recommendations where needed for teachers, for repertory, for accompanists, for performance opportunities, and much, much more. And now financial support for lessons is provided through the colleges, with guaranteed amounts for those taking music as an option within the years of the undergraduate degree. So guaranteed amounts are £420 in the first year, £520 in the second year, and up to £700 in the third year. Further support for lessons may be available from individual colleges, as well as through established programs such as the Instrumental Awards Scheme for Chamber Music, which provides a further £200 towards lessons in addition to professional chamber coaching. And money for lessons is also available through the choral and organ award schemes. And finally here, the CAMRAM scheme, well, up to 10 students are selected per year to take up their lesson allocation at the Royal Academy of Music as part of the CAMRAM scheme. This provides a unique opportunity to experience conservatoire-style teaching alongside the Cambridge undergraduate degree. Practicing performance. So the Practicing Performance programme consists of a series of workshops and masterclasses held on most weeks in term. They're intended to complement both one-to-one lessons and the vast array of practical music making that takes place in Cambridge, bringing new and challenging perspectives to performance and performing. The programme typically includes workshops for singers, wind players, string players, pianists for both solo playing and in chamber groups, and conductors. Seminar topics often include practice and preparation, performance anxiety, jazz, continuo, baroque dance, Alexander technique, and yoga. A sample of the range of areas covered can be seen on the slide. Now, whether or not you choose performance options within the undergraduate degree, the wider performance environment is open to you, providing truly life-changing opportunities and experience for all involved. Reading clockwise through this slide, you see at the top left concerts. Well, now you could perform in one almost every day of the week of your time as an undergraduate, should you so wish. We don't actually recommend it. But in addition to the Cambridge University Music Society, which organises concerts for students from all the colleges, almost every college also has its own concert series, as well as a myriad number of societies, which you can see as the next one along. These cover almost every conceivable genre of music, from opera and Gilbert's and Sullivan societies through to the Cambridge University Jazz Orchestra. There's the Cayley Band, there's a hip hop society. Really, if a society for music that interests you does not exist, you're encouraged to set it up. And that is indeed one of the things that makes Cambridge Cambridge. It's providing students with the opportunity to do things for themselves, to direct other students in performances, in organising events. And these kind of experience really sets people up for their professional careers. Moving further around, we have residencies, and you can see there that one of our resident ensembles, in fact, we have a number of these that are affiliated to the Faculty of Music, providing occasional teaching and performance opportunities to our performers and composers, as well as training our students in outreach. But I'll say more about the individual groups involved on a later slide. And finally, going around music awards. I'll discuss the 3 main music awards on the next slide, but it's worth stressing even before getting there that these music awards are not just for aspiring professional performers. Many colleges also have their own instrumental award schemes, supporting students by modest amounts for their tuition, placing them in groups. And so here we go. Music awards. You can see the 3 areas here, organ and choral awards. These are clearly for organists and for choral singers to learn their trade in college chapels under the guidance of directors of music, some of whom are renowned for this job across the world. And these can be, of course, transformative experiences. They are very intense music-making experiences, and they provide also a wonderful social scene for all involved. Then there's also the Instrumental Award Scheme for Chamber Music, which brings together the finest chamber music players from across the university to receive professional chamber music coaching, with coaches coming up to Cambridge to teach who are some of the most established chamber music players in this country. And finally, as I mentioned, the college music award schemes, these can provide tailored support for individual students under the guidance of the director of music. Often some money for music lessons, but lots of encouragement as well, and provision of support in the form of arranging venues and help in setting up concerts. So we move on to faculty ensembles. The Faculty of Music runs two specialist ensembles. You can see the first one here, the Collegium Musicum, and this introduces students to specialist historical performance, drawing on the faculty's extensive collection of Baroque instruments. This photograph that you can see here was taken when the Collegium Musicum performed at the Senate House earlier this year, with third-year student Sophie Westbrook at the front there, featuring as a virtuoso recorded soloist. At the other end of things, we have the new music group, directed by a faculty composer, Professor Richard Corson. And this offers students the opportunity of working on new music of the 20th and 21st centuries. Recent repertory includes pieces by Schoenberg, by Oliver Nussen and Alexander Goer, and workshops have been held with Mark Anthony Turnage and Judith Weir. The picture you can see there shows the new music group performing at the Zoology Museum, in fact, in Cambridge earlier this year, a particular project led by their student president. Our associate ensembles cover a range of styles of music, providing students with opportunities for playing or singing alongside professional musicians, for workshopping their compositions, and for taking part in outreach activities. Affiliated groups, if I again read clockwise from the top left, we have the AAM, that's the Academy of Ancient Music. They are a period instrument ensemble, obviously. Moving around to the right, we have then the Britain Symphonia, a chamber ensemble specializing in modern music and in innovative programming, and quite a lot of crossover musical styles as well. Moving around there, you have Voces 8, a specialist vocal octet, particularly experienced in pop and jazz styles, which are less often found across the university. And they're also linked to an educational foundation, which we set up with our students to go on outreach activities and to learn how to do outreach, which is a crucial part of any professional musician's training these days. And finally, there you see the Amatis Trio, an young piano trio who are particularly dedicated to exploring lesser-known works, and they've indeed also worked with our composers, helping them to explore ideas, the current ideas that they're working on. Mentioning composers, there's also a composer's workshop, and this meets weekly in term and has included presentations from the people that you can see there listed on the slide. So from left to right, Gabriel Prokofiev, Judith Weir, Sally Beamish, Mark Anthony Turnage, Byron Wallen. They've all visited and offered their expertise to our composers. There are also many opportunities for composers to hear their work performed, whether through high-level workshops with professional groups such as the CBSO and Britain Symphonia, or through concerts put on just with friends in the many performing spaces across the university. Now, all of this music making, teaching and learning is necessarily supported by facilities. And these include, again, beginning at the top left, libraries, more libraries than anyone could possibly imagine in Cambridge. From the central one, you can see there's the faculty library that provides a resource for all our music students, providing the key texts for our courses, but also an extensive sheet music collection. And this is supported by a network of college libraries that make texts available to individual students, and then through to university and specialist collections. And these house archives that sometimes students can study as part of their degree in the second and third years, especially if they're, for example, writing a dissertation or they're doing an annotation project. They sometimes get the chance to visit these archives and to have a look at the manuscripts that they're working on. The faculty also houses, you can see there moving along, a complete Javanese gamelan that was a gift from the government of the Republic of Indonesia, and it's still used as part of our teaching today. It's used in the first year course, and it's open also for students to learn how to play this, the gamelan. I've already also mentioned another specialist instrument collection, our Baroque orchestra, and we also have a lot of early keyboard instruments which may be used by students. Looking then at performance spaces, well, we're very lucky to have within our faculty a 500-seater concert hall, as well as a separate recital room. And not only do many of our big university orchestras, of course, perform in this recital in the concert hall, but also the recitals, especially for our third years, will normally take place in that space as well. But it's not just about performance spaces within the faculty. Almost every college also has a dedicated concert space, and several having their own chamber venues, several making use of their wonderful chapels. Even so, with all these performance spaces available, I have to say that Cambridge students have recently been at the forefront of exploring alternative spaces for music, from museums through to car parks and even cellars. And then moving around, technology. Well, the faculty also operates a fully equipped recording studio with induction and support provided by a professional recording engineer. So students who are, for example, recording film scores or recording their own compositions have access to this studio to use all the latest technology and indeed to learn how to use it. And this can help them, of course, with the skills in later life, but also to get the best possible results with the work as part of their degree. Now, moving on to something different and career prospects. Well, despite what you may read in the headlines, a degree in music from Cambridge carries with it excellent career prospects. 94% of our students are employed or in further study within 6 months of their graduation. And the majority of our students, as you can see on this slide, go on to careers within music, whether as performers, composers, conductors, engineers, administrators, academics, or teachers. And then we have a few pictures of things that our recent graduates have been getting up to. Film composer Chris Willis, who wrote the score for The Death of Stalin. Songwriter-producer Johnny Coffer was co-writer of Beyonce's Freedom from Lemonade. Conductor-violinist Stephanie Childress there at the right, at the foot of the right, something of a celebrity in her own right. And Laura van der Heijden, a cellist who's been involved in many high-profile concerts and events. But it's not just music. About a third of our students, I would say, go on to explore careers outside of music. Popular destinations include publishing and the media. You can read on the screen here, investment banking, law, public service, and so forth. Speaking more personally, I've enjoyed following the careers of former music students. One who I remember as an organ scholar, he's now working as an airline pilot. Another I remember in his time here as a star cellist, and he wrote what I think must have been the first dissertation on Pink Floyd at this university, and he's now a hard-hitting Channel 4 journalist. And finally, I remember another of my students, she was a superb analyst and music historian, and she's now working in the art market. So a music degree, I would say, provides the confidence and the critical skills needed to master a range of new areas later in life, as well, of course, as providing a deep understanding of a wide range of music that will last our music students for the rest of their lives.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this final section of our course presentation. My name's Delphine Mordey. I'm the Outreach Coordinator at the Faculty of Music, where I also teach topics in 19th century music and opera studies. And I'm also Director of Studies in Music at Newnham College, Churchill College and Wolfson College. I'm just going to take the next 10 minutes or so to talk you through the process of applying to study music at Cambridge, what it is that we're looking for in students, and how best to prepare. So let's start with admissions requirements. We do look at students' pre-16 academic record as a performance indicator, but we do this within the context of the overall performance of the school or college where they were achieved. While in general, most students who apply to us do tend to have at least 4 or 5 GCSEs at 7, 8 or 9, there are always exceptions to this, and there's no minimum requirement at GCSE or equivalent to apply to Cambridge. When it comes to post-16 qualifications, Music A-level, or an equivalent music qualification in whatever examination system you're sitting, is still seen as the best preparation for studying music at university. But we do also appreciate that it's not always possible for students to take this qualification, so we also accept ABRSM Grade 8 theory, usually at merit or above, as an alternative to A-level music or its equivalent, alongside 3 other A-levels. Outside of music, there aren't any particular subject combinations that we especially recommend. It's not uncommon for applicants to be studying music alongside maths and sciences, or purely arts and humanities subjects, while others combine both arts and sciences. Music, as you'll have heard in Professor Ellis's course description, is a subject that is truly interdisciplinary, and different A-level subjects will equip you with different skills to tackle the wide range of approaches and ways of thinking that the music degree encompasses. Our typical A-level offer is A-star AA, and between 40 and 42 in the IB, with 776 in higher subjects. For information on typical offer levels for other examination systems, please do check the prospective undergraduate pages on the university website, and you'll find a link to them below this video. I should add here that if you do have any questions or concerns at all about admissions requirements and what's expected, It's always good to check the university web pages. And please do also just get in touch with us, as we'll always be happy to try to answer your questions. Your academic record is just one of the many elements that we take into consideration when assessing your application. Now, I know that the process of applying to Cambridge can seem really daunting, in part because of the number of steps that are involved, but they're there in order to help to give us as good an overview of you as an individual as possible. There's no ideal blueprint for a Cambridge music student. You're all unique and bring your own strengths and interests to the music degree. Through the admissions process, we want to give our applicants as many opportunities as possible to demonstrate their particular strengths and potential. As you've seen, there are lots of different ways to study music, and we don't expect every student to be good at everything. So we consider each application individually and holistically, taking into account a range of information. This includes your academic record, as we've already discussed. We also take into consideration your school references and your personal statement. We always get lots of questions about what to include in a personal statement. And I think the key point that I would stress here is to do what the title suggests and to make it truly personal. We want to know about you and about why you want to study music, and in particular about why you want to study music as an academic subject. It can be quite easy, I think, for musicians to just list the various groups and choirs and orchestras and so on that they've been involved in. And sure, that tells us something about a candidate's interests and achievements, so by all means do include that information. But what we really want to know is what excites you about the idea of thinking, learning, writing about music, and what you've done to nurture that interest and to develop your understanding of the subject outside of the school curriculum. The other thing that I would stress here is that we'll quite often use the personal statement as a springboard for discussion during the subject interview. So, for example, we might ask you to talk a little bit about a book that you say that you've read, or to expand on a comment that you made in your statement. So always remember to reread and to think through anything that you've included in your personal statement before attending a subject interview. We also ask applicants to send us some written schoolwork, usually 1 or 2 essays, and if you can, 1 or 2 harmony and counterpoint exercises and/or compositions, in order to give us an idea not only about your essay writing skills and how well you write about music, but also how you get on with writing music. For the essays, ideally it's good if these can be music essays, but we know that that's not always possible, in which case you can submit essays from other subjects. We also ask for the work you submit to be marked by your teacher. This written work will then be looked at by the Director of Studies at the college to which you're applying and may form the basis for part of the discussion at interview. There are no centralised pre-interview assessments for music, but some colleges may ask you to sit some tests as part of the interview process. These tests can vary from college to college, but can include oral, keyboard, harmony and essay writing exercises, as well as the option to perform. For more information, the best thing to do is to contact the college you're thinking of applying to ask what their interview arrangements are. There are usually 2 interviews for music applicants, each of which can last between 30 minutes to an hour. At interview, you might be asked to discuss your musical experiences and interests. You'll also normally be asked to comment on a short piece of writing about music and a musical score. In this way, the interviews are a little bit like the small group classes that we have at Cambridge, and for which we'll often ask students to read a set text or analyse a piece of music, and then we discuss it together. We're very aware that our applicants will have received different teaching and studied different aspects of music in different ways. So what we're looking for at interview is not so much what you already know, but rather your ability to take on new ideas, to explore new avenues and new ways of thinking. As I've stressed already, we don't expect you to excel in all areas of the interviews and of the admissions process. Rather, the interview is helpful for us to form an impression of your skills and capabilities, so to see where your strengths lie, as well as to get a sense of your potential to develop further as a student within the context of the music course at Cambridge. I know that the idea of a Cambridge interview can seem really intimidating, but it can also be an enjoyable experience if you think about it as an opportunity to talk about a subject that you're really interested in with people who are really interested in it too. So what are we looking for in prospective music students? Well, as I've already mentioned, we're looking for students who are really passionate about the subject and are keen to explore new ways of thinking about it. We're looking for students who will thrive academically in a challenging environment. Most importantly, we're looking for students who will most benefit from our degree, whatever their background, and who demonstrate self-discipline, motivation, and commitment to their studies. We get asked a lot how best to prepare for interviews, and I stress here that there's no one book you have to read or piece you have to have listened to. What matters more is that you do read and listen as widely as possible as a stimulus to your own ideas and thinking. Performing and writing, whether it's writing music or writing about music, can also help to shape your thoughts and understanding. But above all, whatever you do choose to read, or to listen to, or to play, it's important to think about what it is that you're reading or listening to. Do you agree or disagree with the arguments? Why do you think a particular piece is effective? How does it relate to other texts or pieces that you've come across? And then talk about your ideas. One of the things that students often find difficult about interviews is that it's sometimes the first chance that they've really had to talk about their thoughts on music. So it's really helpful to get used to talking through your ideas, whether it's with teachers or friends or family, really anybody who will listen. Just try to get some practice at articulating your thoughts and arguments. As I said, it doesn't really matter what you read in preparation for interviews, but if you would like some recommendations to get you started, then take a look at our page on further resources, which also includes links to lectures and other self-study activities. And you'll find a link to this page below the video. We really hope you found this presentation helpful and that it's answered some of the questions you may have. But we're always here to help if you have any more questions or if there's anything at all you're not sure about. Please just email me at outreach@mus.cam.ac.uk and I'll do my best to help. You can also find out more information via the faculty website and through our various social media channels. Thanks very much for listening. Please do get in touch with any questions that you have, and we wish you all the very best with your future studies.